Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Minish Recap, where we recap recent gaming news in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Spigel. Today, with me is Nick.
Hello.
And Xiaber.
Yo.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going good.
No, we don't have no time for pleasantries. We only have 10 minutes.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
So much news.
So actually, there's some very interesting news today, and I may be paraphrasing a bit because I don't have the actual quote in front of me, which is always smart. But the lovely folks at IGN Europe reported today that Shigeru Miyamoto has effectively announced that Pikmin 4 is not only being made, but it is close to completion.
Yeah. I guess this news was technically reported in July to
Eurogamer.
Yeah, so I was a little confused by why we were hearing about this now, but also I was confused in general that this is even happening for us.
Here's the actual quote. It is actually very close to completion. Pikmin teams are always working on the next one. We can confirm that Pikmin 4 is in development, but that is all we can confirm at present. That's from Shigeru Miyamoto.
And then later on, Nintendo confirmed it completely.
So the interesting thing to me is not that Pikmin 4 is happening, although it is interesting that they have chosen this avenue to announce it, but the fact that they declined to say what platform it would be on. As we've all speculated about the future of the NX, of course, and rather the future of Wii U as well. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to happen on Wii U? Because Miyamoto says it's close to completion, but we don't know when NX is coming out anyway.
There's been times where games have been delayed even when they're close to completion just for the needs of the system. I do feel like it's a Wii U title because I feel like the Wii U still has quite a few games coming out this year that they would want to carry it through next year a little bit, because the NX is not going to come out in like early summer. That's just not going to happen.
Well,
and also, we don't even know what the NX is going to be like, so they might just be making this Pikmin game to go with the Wii U, since Pikmin 3 was so great with the gamepad.
So you guys seem to think that this is going to be sort of a Wii U swan song, as it were. Do you see this game launching in Q1 of next year?
I think it could if it's very close. Also, I think they mentioned explicitly that Pikmin 3 was sort of like a learning experience because of HD, so I wonder if there's a lot of things they just couldn't do that they would have done, but all their time was spent getting used to the new, better system.
I mean, that would correlate with Miyamoto's quote that Pikmin teams are always working on the next one, because if that's the case, it took them 9 years to finish Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
I wonder how much of the original team from 2004 was still working on the game when it launched in 2013. I still think, and I've been on this bandwagon for a while, that Zelda U is coming out on NX, and Pikmin 4 is now also going to be coming out on NX. Both are going to be launch titles. It's going to be coming probably early fall 2016. And I'm going to put that on the record and just put a stamp on it and say that's what I believe.
That sounds good, but I don't know how many games Nintendo sells with its consoles on average. If it's just one at launch, I'm not sure they would want to compete with themselves like that.
Why do you think they'd be competing with themselves? What do you mean exactly?
Well, because I don't know. It depends on whether or not Pikmin is really a game that's going to sell a system, or it doesn't seem like it's worth it to delay to the launch of the NX, because if it's very close, why bother waiting? Unless they do a cross Wii U and NX release, that would make sense. If it was just on both, but at that point just do backwards compatibility. We don't know what the NX is though, so it's hard to really say.
It should also be mentioned that there has been a thing that Wii U might tie in with NX in some way, in terms of being backwards compatible or being straight up compatible with the gamepad or something. So that may actually hold some ground a little bit.
Really, really quickly, you think about Twilight Princess. The only reason that was on both systems was to try to drive sales of the Wii and to show off the features that they shoehorned into it. If the NX has some kind of new feature, that would be the only reason they would make it a specific NX and Wii U release.
I mean, I suppose you could argue the same thing about Zelda, right?
Right.
I mean, they could follow the PlayStation Xbox thing where they just have it released on Wii U and then months later have it released on the NX as well.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. That actually seems not...
That's something I never want to see on Nintendo.
Nintendo does that within the realm of the Pokemon series in terms of special editions, but that's so different in terms of a new version on a different console. Then again, they do remakes a lot, so who knows?
Yeah, but it's not really. It's not a remake. See, I was so against them calling Last of Us a remake. They call it the remastered one.
It's not a
year later.
Okay, so we're splitting hairs though, but the point is that it's a re-release with maybe some different features. So, they're not unfamiliar to that kind of territory.
But to sort of bring this conversation to a kind of a nice little conclusion, think about this. Okay, if NX does come out next year in fall and they save Pikmin 4 and they save Zelda, think about what a launch could be for this system. You could have Pikmin, you could have Zelda, you could potentially have Animal Crossing and potentially a new Mario, like all at the same time. Is that too crazy to even think about?
A little bit. I think it's actually a bad business idea.
I think that is, because what are they going to have after that?
Well, I mean, obviously they could spread it out like throughout the rest of the year, but I mean, like,
well, sure.
As they say, launch window. That's a pretty crazy launch window.
If they released 2 major first-party titles and then had a couple to release steadily, like one shortly after launch and another,
like say they launched with Mario and Pikmin, they had Zelda for holiday and Animal Crossing maybe early Q1 in 2017. That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah,
you
so
have, like,
imagine if it was like the
year.
third year of the system in the first, essentially.
Man, we're dreaming now, but
yeah,
man, NX could be everything we've always been waiting for.
I'm not sure why I'm waiting for yet.
Sort of the fun thing about doing this Minish recap is we don't know anything at all. We have nothing except the announcement of Pikmin 4, and now we're talking about the NX. So does anyone else have anything to say about Pikmin 4? When do you think we'll first see this title?
Maybe at E3?
That's a long time to
the
wait.
Next time they do Nintendo Direct, it's going to be one of the games in the first time they start up Nintendo Directs again, so I don't know, in a couple months. We'll probably hear about it.
If you think it's going to be on the NX, I think it makes sense for it to be at E3. If it's not going to be on the NX, it's probably going to be sooner on some random Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be until next year.
That's actually a good point. Like if
it's a long time.
If it's going to be on NX, they can't show it till next year because they said they're not going to talk about NX till next year. So that is a good point. I think Nintendo Direct usually comes around in October after E3. I think last year's the one where they opened with Majora's Mask. That was October, right?
It seems like something they would tease with very, very little information except maybe a title. Like they've announced it, but they haven't deliberately tried to get the public's attention with it. So that might.
If all they give us is a little music and like a little logo for Pikmin 4, I'll actually be pretty hyped because Pikmin is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite series, honestly.
There's other games coming out. We'll find out more later.
Yeah, we're plenty satisfied with Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival and freaking Mario Ultra Smash Tennis or whatever it is.
We should have talked about Animal Crossing this whole time. Would have been great. 30-second chat. Don't buy it.
So we're all over the place. But thanks for listening to the Minish Recap, everybody. If you're excited about Pikmin 4, post your excitement in the comments. We're a little rusty. We haven't done this in a while. So, I don't know. I'm Spigel. Nick is over there. Xiber is over there. And thanks for listening to the Minish Recap. Share us with your friends. If you're excited about Pikmin 4, let us know. Have a good one, everybody.